All right, so I've been getting asked a lot on how people should spend resources, what to buy, what to upgrade, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do a little video here on what I'm personally doing. I'm not saying this is necessarily the thing to do, but just from my experience, this is what I'm going to be doing. So we got a fair amount of stuff to go over here, but we're going to talk about crafting. We're going to talk about what to buy in the store, and then we're going to talk about Intel and upgrading. So to start off, the biggest thing here is be patient. This game is meant to prey on your patience. You're going to get punished, whether it's forcing you into wanting to spend real money to get things, or by crafting things in the wrong way or buying things in the wrong way, and you're just not going to be as efficient with your resources. So the biggest thing here is you basically don't want to craft anything except torsos. The value just isn't there. So for example, crafting a chassis, shoulder, weapon, or gear at the different rarities is going to cost you, we'll just do common because it's basically all similar, but a common version of any of those is going to cost you 16,000 salvage. To buy it, it's going to cost you 1,280 credits. Now, to buy salvage at the worst rate is 1,600 credits, which is going to get you 10,000 salvage, which is about 6.25 salvage per credit. Whereas with crafting, it's going to be about a value of, it would be the same as you spending 2,560 credits to buy 1,280's worth of credits. Or of salvage. So it's just not a very good value. The only thing you want to craft are torsos. So now looking at the same thing with commons, a common is same thing, 16,000 salvage, but to buy it, it would normally be 2,880 to buy it from the store. So torsos you definitely want to craft. It is going to be your better value, but everything else you want to buy from the store. Now, in terms of crafting, you're getting your blueprints from your levels, right? These blue things down here. I do think they need to make this a little more obvious that it's a blueprint and not the actual part, but this is how you unlock your blueprints. So going through here, as you level up, you're going to get all different kind of blueprints. By the time you get to 80, you'll have blueprints for everything, except for, at least at the time of recording, Cyclops, which is currently in the battle pass. But that's how you get your blueprints. So you want to be patient. Only craft torsos. Do not craft the other stuff. Wait for them to pop up in your shop and buy them that way. It's going to be a much better use of your resources. So moving on to the store now, we'll talk a little bit about that. There are, I believe, 4 different packages, at least 4 that I know of, for salvage. So we'll talk about this first. So you've got the 1,600 for 10,000 right here. There is which is 6.25 salvage per credit. There's a 3,200 credit for 24,000, which is about 7.5 per salvage per credit. And then the 2 best value ones is a 6,000 for 60,000 and a 9,000 for 90,000, which is 10 salvage per credit. So that's your best value right there. So you want to save your credits. Do not buy these ones. Do not buy these lower value ones. Be patient. Wait for the good ones to pop up. Buy those. Now, you're obviously going to, especially early on, you're going to have only a certain amount of credits, right? So you have to kind of pick and choose whether you buy salvage or you buy weapons and stuff. So that is kind of something for you to decide, something you have to decide on your own. I mostly went after weapons and parts and stuff. I maybe wish I bought a little bit more salvage earlier on when the good deals came up, because I've been getting the shitty value ones for quite a while now, for a few days. I did get the 6,000 for 60,000 one today. I bought that. So try and find that balance. You're eventually going to want a whole bunch of salvage because it costs a lot of salvage. I think for a base common item to max upgrade, I forget I think uncommon is 240,000. I think that's uncommon. We'll look at that in a little bit, but you're going to need a lot of salvage no matter what. So kind of try and find that balance. So do not buy things to salvage. I've seen people say like, buy this quantum, even if you don't want it, buy it and then turn it into salvage just to refresh that spot. So for you that don't know, if you buy something here, something else will fill that spot. So these weapons, if you buy one of these, another weapon will fill their place. You buy this salvage, another salvage deal will pop up, and so on with all these different sections here. So do not buy something just to salvage it, to refresh the spot, to maybe get something you want. It's an absolutely horrible use of your credit. So if you buy this for $12.80, you get 4,800 for salvaging it. The value there is about 3.75 salvage per credit. And again, the worst value one was 6.25. So it's almost twice as bad than the worst value one. So do not do that. Be patient. Wait for the things you want to pop up. That said, figure out what you want to do in terms of building your collection, weapons and stuff you want. I'm not going to go over it too much here, but make sure you go into the workshop, build a new robot, try stuff. You can build stuff with things you don't own. Learn what weapons you like, learn what parts you like. Make a shopping list and keep an eye out for those things in the store. So personally, I'm trying to get a play set of everything. So the most light weapons you can fit on a mech is 5. The most heavy you can fit on a mech is 3. That's how many hard points you can get. That is all you can fit. So I am trying to get a play set of everything. 2 of each shoulder, 1 of each leg, 1 of each torso at bare minimum. But that's for me personally, because I want to be able to build, craft anything and everything. That might not be the same for you. If you find you don't like rampants, don't buy them. Save your credits, wait for stuff you actually want. But if there is something there that you do want or you think you will use, buy it. That'll refresh the spot, and you're keeping something that you actually want, and you might get something else you want to. That's the best way to do that. It's the best use of your money. You want to be getting things you want. You don't want to be wasting resources, because you're going to put yourself behind. So yeah, that's my personal thing. One thing I do suggest is try and prioritize getting 5 mechs online. So you want to have 5 mechs in your hangar for a number of reasons. They don't really explain it, but these are your lives, right? So when you go into a lot of these game modes, these are your lives. If you go in with only 3 mechs, if you think, okay, I'm gonna put my 3 best mechs together, bring them in, you go in, that's all you get. If you lose those 3 mechs, you're out. So make sure you have 5. The other part is you want to put your pilots in there. The sooner you have 5 mechs, the sooner you can put 5 pilots in there, and you can start leveling 5 pilots at a time, right? Get those pilots leveled up, get those abilities unlocked. So back to the store. That's kind of what you want to do there. Try and put together at least 5 mechs. So prioritize like legs and stuff like that. But again, go make that shopping list. Go test stuff, build stuff, experiment a lot. I spent the first few days, more than half my time was probably sitting and just build / theory crafting in that workshop. So make sure you do that. And again, with the credits, only buy the 6,000 and 9,000 ones. Those are going to be your best value. Make sure you're saving up your credits, and just make sure you have stuff free. My personal suggestion would also be, I believe rare parts are 10,580 credits, I believe. I was originally trying to have exactly that much or around that much all the time. So if something rare did come up, which is probably not going to come up too often, you can buy it. There's some pretty good rare stuff like the Siren Torso, the Fenrir Torso. Try and have those credits. Try and have a float of money in case something good comes up so you don't miss it. Right now, we don't have a lock feature or anything like that. Just keep stuff like that in your mind. Another thing is, if you scroll down all the way down here to the pilots, keep an eye out for pilots. I'm personally, again, trying to buy one of most pilots just to have them. But there are a set of pilots, which we're not going to cover in this video, but try and figure out what pilots you want to have and keep an eye out here for them, and make sure you scoop them up when they do come through. since it's only 2 at a time, right? So always make sure you're checking that to try and get some solid pilots to put in. Again, with 5 mechs, you can be leveling up 5 at a time, so it's handy to have them. So now we'll move on to something that's probably a little more important here, and it's going to vary depending on what you want to do. But a lot of people ask me what to upgrade. I personally say nothing. Do not upgrade anything. If you don't know what you're doing, if you aren't familiar with the game, do not upgrade anything, because this intel up here that you can only get from jobs, your dailies and your weeklies, the intel is what is going to potentially hold you back the most, because you only get a certain amount a week. So as a paid player, I believe it is, I think it's 280 a week, something like that. Either way, doesn't matter. You only get a certain amount each week. You don't want to be wasting that. If you upgrade something that's not very good or doesn't have good value to upgrade, you're now potentially putting yourself weeks behind in resources, which is not good. So make sure you know what you're upgrading. Now, what you upgrade is going to vary, again, depending on what you think you're going to get the most use of. Most people look to either upgrade your torso, which is going to be your abilities here. So this is the only thing I've upgraded. We'll come back to this in a sec, but most people are either going to upgrade their torso, which is going to get your abilities on a lower cooldown, or enhanced abilities, damage, whatever. It's also going to get you more armor, making you a little bit more tanky. So keep that in mind. Torsos and then weapons. Those are the things you're probably going to use the most, right? Now, there are some things to kind of keep in mind with upgrading weapons. So something like a Punisher here. As you upgrade it, you're going to get reload time. So it looks like it's not a ton, so it's 0.52 seconds. But if you upgrade one gun to max and the others are still level 1, they're going to have different reload times, right? So this is also going to get more ammo, so it's going to shoot for longer. So it's going to shoot for longer, reload a little quicker. So there's going to be potential weird like cadences with your weapons. So keep something like that in mind too. Again, it is very expensive to upgrade. This is just a common 400 intel and 160,000 salvage. So you can see I've upgraded my torso here, my Siren torso, to max, which because it's a rare, I believe it was 800 intel and like, I want to say it was like 320,000 salvage. So it's a lot. It's expensive. It's very expensive. So again, if for whatever I did this to prove a point, I think Siren is broken and is going to need to be looked at. I think it will be nerfed. But keep in mind that if you upgrade something, we don't have a reset right now. So if this was to get nerfed, I'm out 800 intel, which is a lot of intel. That's 2-3 weeks worth of intel that I would be behind now. So be very careful with what you upgrade. Weapons can be a little bit tricky too. Some seem to have better value than others. So you got to look at it and see what you think. So this is plus 31 damage a shot to armor, plus 15 ammo, and then a little bit of reload time. I haven't done the math on this. I probably should. One that I have done the math on though are Gozers. So Gozers might be the other thing that I upgrade. So I did the math, and just basic math in terms of armor damage, a full 5 Gozer setup, mag dumping into armor is around 84,000 damage. Fully upgraded, it's 144,000. So it's a pretty big jump there. Certain weapons are going to have certain values. Basically, you're going to get more out of upgrading some things than others. I mean, if you don't use Gozers, then it doesn't matter, right? But make sure the weapons you're thinking of upgrading, you kind of look and see what you're getting value wise out of max upgrading it, and then kind of go from there. Now, speaking of the cadences of weapons, if things change, what you could do is kind of pick your set of weapons that you're going to level up. So again, for example, I'm looking at potentially upgrading my Gozers what I might do is do them all to level 5 and then all to level 8 and whatever I have the resources do, try and keep them even. But yeah, again, the most important part is make sure you know what you want to upgrade, and don't just upgrade randomly. Don't put a couple levels here, a couple levels here. Even if it's just salvage, you need a lot of salvage. If you're putting a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then you don't end up taking advantage of that, you're kind of putting yourself in a rough spot. There are some other things as well. Some people were saying they would rather upgrade all of their 5 torsos to max level before they even touch their weapons. But that depends as well. With certain game modes where we now have a reduced cooldown on getting our mechs back, you might only ever use your first 3 mechs and never touch your other 2. And then those wasted resources on your torsos on those last 2 might never get used. So you might be better off putting them on your weapons. So there's a lot of personal stuff here, how you use your mechs, what mechs you use. Again, if you focus on maybe only 2 more often than not, you might want to upgrade those. So it's going to be kind of tailored to your own specific situation, right? But just be very careful. If you don't know what you're doing, do not upgrade. I've played the entire game to level 80 to max Noachium rank without ever upgrading anything. And I got level 80 and I crafted my Siren torso, and that was the first time I ever upgraded. And for the most part, I felt like I could compete the whole time with level 1 weapons. So you do not need to upgrade. Yeah, kind of just play it by ear, learn the game, and again, be very, very careful with these, especially the intel, because of how restrictive it is. What else? What else do we want to talk about here? I think we kind of talked about everything. Yeah, one of the most important things is the fact that we don't have that reset refund thing. I am trying to see if we can suggest that to get that added in. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Make sure you're very careful. That's the biggest thing. Be patient and be careful with your resources. If you've already invested a little bit, it is what it is. But from that point forward, just try and be careful. I think that's really all I wanted to talk about with resources. Again, this is just my personal take on it, what I'm aiming to do. It might be different for you. You might know the game really well and you know exactly what you want to upgrade, but in case not, that's basically what I suggest. So hopefully that helps. Again, I've had that question quite a bit. Hopefully this helps people. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.